So Steve, what are the different data reduction technologies in the market today, and how can they be applied to primary storage?
Yeah, so I think you're seeing a number of different storage optimization technologies that are coming to the forefront. Some older, some newer. Some of the older technologies are things like thin provisioning, virtualization. Some of the newer technologies are things like storage tiering, data deduplication, and compression. So technologies like virtualization and thin provisioning have all been about how do I more optimize the existing capacity I have, and how do I spread it out over multiple systems and allow folks to access that capacity in an easier fashion. Tiering's really come along since IBM and folks like EMC have come along and said, okay, we have these high-end tier 1 drives called flash drives that are very expensive that you really want to put your most access data on first, and then tier it off as that data type that starts to age. The other two technologies about really reducing the capacity and reducing the footprint, those come in the form of data deduplication, been around for a while. On primary storage, a little more difficult to maintain the optimization ratios that you get. Typically, you find deduplication in backup, because in backup streams where you have that repetitive data, that's where you tend to see a large degree of optimization, because you keep sending the same thing over and over again. The one that's really taken a shine in the forefront is really compression for primary storage, and that's really what the IBM real-time compression technology is all about.
So Steve, it's interesting you mentioned compression, and compression's a technology that's been around for some time now. But what is IBM doing specifically to make it applicable to primary storage?
So compression has been around for a while, and we've been compressing data on tapes for decades. Kind of the evolution of where compression has gone to, though, is specific to IBM's implementation of compression. So the compression technology that IBM has is not so much about compression, the algorithms per se. So the compression algorithms that we leverage are the industry standard LZ compression that you would see in technologies like WinZip and that sort of thing. The interesting part is how IBM has been able to make compression both real-time and random access. And the key for being able to do compression on primary storage in real time is to exhibit those characteristics real-time and random access. And that's part of what we call our RACE engine, or our random access compression engine.
So Steve, maybe you can explain something to me. So it sounds like you guys have optimized compression inline, meaning before it's actually written to storage. How is that more beneficial than doing compression after the data has been written to storage?
So the benefit of being able to do compression, again, our intellectual property portfolio, our 35 patents, are really around how to make compression real-time and random access. It's not around compression in and of itself. And if I can do compression in a random access nature, I can do a number of different things that are unique to traditional compression technology. So I compare the IBM real-time compression with technologies like WinZip type compression. So if I take a Word document and I zip that Word document up, Microsoft Word can't access that document. And the reason why I can't access that document is because Word doesn't understand zip, and all the metadata that is in the document, things like the user and the file size and the timestamp, I need all those things to be able to access the information, right? So if I need to use that data, I actually need to reinflate the data, extract the Word document, and then go ahead and use it. The difference with our technology is that because we actually write the data seamlessly to disk, transparently to the application, so that we actually preserve that metadata, we are able to, and because of the way we use the random access nature in which we write the data into the file, we can actually decompress components of the file without decompressing the entire file, which helps you save on I/O, which helps you save on the amount of capacity and the amount of transactional processing time that you do back and forth between the application and the storage, which at the end of the day, the key thing is performance, right? In order to be able to do compression in real time, you need to maintain the performance and the availability of the system, right? Because that's why users tend to buy storage. So performance is key. The unique thing about the way we do the compression and the way our technology does the compression and preserving that file integrity is when we do compression, let's pretend you get a 4-to-1 compression ratio. If the data is compressed on disk 4-to-1, you're actually getting 4 times the amount of storage cache. So if the slowest moving part in the storage array is the disk drive, you're actually moving the disk drive or the disk actuator arm a lot less, you're giving CPU cycles back to the disk array, you're increasing the cache, so the array is doing less work, you're getting more cache hits, and the real-time compression appliance that sits in front of the array also has caching. So you might not even have to go to the array to get the next set of data. So at the end of the day, it's really about performance, and it's this random access nature in which we write the file that actually gives us that performance.